with a deficit, and we're meeting people with a deficit, how can we have this? So here's what happens. I fall in love with someone, and they fall in love with me, and what starts with a hug around the neck becomes a stranglehold around the neck and says, give me, are you going to give me respect, encouragement, comfort, security, support, acceptance, approval, attention, appreciation, affection, or are you just cute? Right? I mean, that's pretty much what it comes down to. And it's like, it's a stranglehold. So, I wonder, after all of this, and after you're squeezing all of this stuff out of your significant other, and after you're married and you're relying on them to give you all of these things, I wonder why you think sometimes why you're not so cute anymore, right? That's just kind of, because they're not giving it to you. Because they don't know how. They never experienced it. They never grew up with it. So, on top of all of this, right, on top of everything that we just talked about, now let's throw kids into the picture, right? And so then, here's all of this, and you see, your kids will have a hard time or an easy time staying in love for the same reasons why you have a hard time or an easy time staying in love. What they will experience and what they will feel growing up is what you're going to exemplify for them in your relationship, in your married relationship. And and a lot of the things that we're talking about really just go in general for all relationships. So, keep that in mind. And especially for these young children that I'm talking about, married with young children, because Pastor Fred next week is going to talk about the teenage years, and that's like a whole nother story, so, get ramped up for that one. Yeah, that's going to be, there's trouble there. Okay. And so, but this is the adolescent years is where we need to build the foundation for what our kids are going to grow up and become, and how they're going to love, and how they're going to stay in love, because they need to see it, they need to experience it. Okay, this is what we're talking about here. And so, out of all of this, and out of all this chaos that we're talking about with love, falling in love, staying in love, marriage, and married with children, Jesus speaks. At this, and he's with his disciples, and Jesus gives us the foundation of enduring love relationships. Jesus does this for us. And he gives us this command, right? And I think this is the foundation for marriage. And this is especially the foundation for marriage with children. Okay? And this is so simple, and this is so counterintuitive, and this is so a part of what we normally don't think. And so it's kind of readjusting, our relational compass. Okay? And this is so simple, it's so powerful, it's so rare. But it's so accessible and it's so available if two people would just simply accept this basic teaching of Jesus. Okay? And this comes to us from John 13:34, and we're going to look at the first part of it first, and then we're going to look at the second part of it. But this is a command, and it says, I give you a new command. Love one another. And then you're like, okay, heard that, right? Come on, give me something rich, give me something good, right? Well, the thing is, if you guys just cruise by this, you guys are going to miss it. Because what Jesus does here is he turns what we normally use as a noun into a verb. Now, what he does is, this is an imperative. This is a command, okay? Jesus says, okay guys, here's the deal. I want you to go and love one another. Now, I know that love is something that you fall into and fall out of, right? And we normally think of love as a noun. But this is what we're talking about. Jesus has turned what normally we think is a noun into a verb, and he says, go and do it. But most of us, we don't know what that looks like. So, you see, Jesus is telling us that if you want to maintain love in our relationship, we have to make love a verb. And so here's the bottom line. The foundation for staying in love is making love. Pause. A verb. Okay, no one got that one. But you know what? I see Dan over there laughing a little bit. Now you got it. Now you got it. See, now you can remember it, okay? So here it is. That's just fun to kind of say in church, right? So let's just say it one more time. So here we go. The foundation of staying in love is making love a verb. Okay? The foundation for staying in love is making love a verb. Now, in marriage relationships, the feeling part is really in the caboose of the train. Okay? It might have started as the engine, but it's in the caboose. Because, the feeling part, goes to the end. But the thing is, now okay, here's the secret. And you know what? Let's just keep this all in this room. And, there's a little secret for you guys, and this is for marriage relationships. So here's the marriage relationships. If you guys make marriage relationships, and if you guys make love a verb in marriage relationships, you guys will make more love. Okay, but you didn't hear it from me. Okay? So here we go. So there's the secret. And but what I'm saying is, so here's what he's saying. I want you to learn how to actively love one another. And so love is something that you do. You don't just watch it and look at it and be like, whoa, like this, but you actually do love. And this is what Jesus is telling us. Now, but that's only the first part. There's the second part. There's the second part of the verse. And it says, I give you a new commandment that you love one another. Just as I loved you, you also should love one another. Now, what he's saying is that Jesus doesn't want you to take the cues from culture, okay, on love and how to stay in love. He doesn't want you to take that from culture. And he doesn't want you to take that from from what you've experienced, because maybe that might not be the greatest experience that you've ever seen in a relationship. But what he's saying is, if you are willing, I will teach you how to stay in love. That's what he's saying. And later on, the Apostle Paul comes and, kind of repeats this verse, okay? But then he kind of says it with a different word that kind of hits a little harder right here. Okay, and we don't like to hear that. This word, we don't like to hear it a little bit because it kind of hurts. It kind of tells us, gives us a poke there and gives us a little kick in our butt. And what happens is, the Apostle Paul uses this verb and uses this word, and he uses this verse to help illustrate what Jesus was saying to us when he told us to love one another. And this verse comes to us in Ephesians 5:21. And it starts out with this word, and it says, submit to one another. And here's the Jesus part again, out of reverence for Christ. Submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. So, what does this mean? It means really the same thing as love one another. But it just, it really does have this kick to it. And it really just, pokes at you a little bit more. Because the word submit. Now, we all don't like that word, but, it means the same thing as love. Now, the bottom line, the foundation, the starting block for staying in love is mutual submission. This is what Paul is saying. And this is what our kids need to see growing up. Mutual submission. Mutual submission, what does it look like? Here we go. No, you're the priority. No, you're the priority. No, you're the priority. No, you're the priority, right? And this is what mutual submission looks like. And it goes back and forth and back and forth. And the biggest conflict in your marriage is not now about how you're going to raise your kids. It's not about who's going to go and, change the diaper, or who's gonna go and wake up and go feed the kids or whatever like that. That's not your biggest worry anymore. Your biggest worry is, who is the priority? That is what the biggest conflict in your marriage is. Paul said, this is what Jesus is talking about. Mutual submission. Love one another. Make that noun a verb. Love one another. Mutual submission. So, the key to staying in love in a marriage with kids, with children, is mutual submission. No, you first. No, you first. No, you first. And you know what? And as this goes, you might, a diaper might not get changed because you guys are like, no, I'll change the diaper. No, I'll change the diaper. No, whatever, right? I mean, come on. This is what the basic foundation of staying in love. So here it is. To fall in love, what's the only requirement? You need a pulse, right? That's all you need. You can fall in love. It's easy. It's easy to fall in love. But to stay in love, you need a plan. And God's giving you this plan. Jesus is giving you this plan. He's giving you a command. And he's saying, go and love one another. Not love noun, but love verb. Okay? And he's saying, go and love one another. And he further, and Paul, the Apostle Paul further illustrates this, and he says, submit to one another. Out of reverence for Christ. Out of Christ's lead. Let him teach you. So, my challenge for you guys today is this. No matter what stage you guys are in your marriage relationship, where you guys are going to get married, you guys are just in your marriage, you guys have kids, you guys have kids that have graduated or whatever, no matter what stage you guys are in, stop thinking of love as a noun. Think of love as a verb. And do love. Submit to one another. So with this simple command by Jesus, you could change your life, you could change your marriage, and you could change your kids and how they stay with love and how they're going to learn it. Amen? Let's pray.